You definitely sniped the Nate Diaz fight from me, and I've been so lenient in giving you your opponents. And I think it's.
But it's not. Wait, it's not your option to give me my opponents. You haven't fought anyone. You don't fight. You don't fight real fights. It's just not your option to give me my opponents. You're not even a fighter. Like, you do exhibitions and lost like 4 years ago.
So Jake Paul went on Impaulsive wearing leopard skin lingerie. He just won a boxing match against UFC veteran and massive fucking stoner Nate Diaz on the weekend. So he seemed pretty relaxed and comfortable after what would have been a pretty hectic couple of months. And I think his brother Logan was low-key jealous. He kept picking arguments with Jake, and Jake absolutely wiped the floor with him, dropping truth bombs left, right, and center. At one point, Logan was literally speechless, and Jake was just sitting back in his leopard skin G-string soaking it up. But I gotta say, I was so down for this podcast. It's one of the best episodes of Impaulsive I've ever watched, to be honest. This is the kind of content these guys need to be producing week in and week out. Don't get me wrong, I get that these guys are media pros and they live for getting clicks, but this was different. This 100% got personal. Logan basically tapped out towards the end and agreed that they should continue the conversation off camera. I'm going to take you through the episode and break it down. There was so much drama in it, and like I said, shit got real personal. But before we get into all the best clips and commentary, if you haven't already subscribed, sort that shit out. We've just hit 1,000 subscribers and we're literally growing by the hour. So get on board. You don't want to miss out on future uploads and updates across the podcast universe. So let's kick off with some context. As I mentioned already, Jake Paul just came off a win against Nate Diaz. His boxing record is 7-1 with 4 wins by knockout. For a YouTuber who grew up with a silver spoon up his ass, you've got to admit that's mildly impressive, even though he's only really fought a real boxer once in Tommy Fury, which he lost. But when you compare that to his brother Logan's record of 0-1, losing by split decision to British YouTuber KSI, Jake looks like a half-decent fighter. And this was the first source of tension in this episode. Logan was clearly butthurt that Jake is making a name for himself as a boxer. Even Joe Rogan reckons he's got skills, while Logan is busy having playdates with the WWE and stealing from his own followers. So Logan tries to insert himself into the conversation, making big claims and trying to steal some clout of his brother. But Jake is having none of it and puts him back in his place. Check it out.
I don't want to put the energy into the air, but like, Tommy Fury's on my fucking radar. I have him in my scopes. I wanted it when Jake was fighting him, and I'm gonna be back in the conversation, which I'm fucking stoked about. Yeah, dude. October 14th, I'm fighting Dillon.
You just jump him too. At that point, the both of you just.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do something.
No, I'm gonna finish him off first. I gotta handle that business first.
We'll see, bro, because you definitely sniped the Nate Diaz fight from me, and I've been so lenient in giving you your opponents. And I think it's.
But it's not. Wait, it's not your option to give me my opponents. You haven't fought anyone. You don't fight. You don't fight real fights. It's just not your option to give me my opponents. You're not even a fighter. Like, you do exhibitions and lost like 4 years ago. So it's not your option to like give me my fights. That me and Nate Diaz have been talking about that for years, and then you popped up and were like, no, now it's my turn. I want that fight, and then start talking shit, and then try to like get the fight in Saudi Arabia, like on the microphone, and like trying to like jump in on all of these things.
I think I'm better than you, and I think Nate chose you for a reason, and I think everyone knows that.
What do you mean?
Even in here.
But what have you done to prove that you're better than me?
I don't know. Went toe to toe 8 rounds with the greatest boxer of all time. What do you think happens if you fight Floyd Mayweather?
I would knock him out,
bro.
100%.
Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous.
You think because you lost a fight to Floyd Mayweather that you're better than me at boxing?
You said I won the fight.
In person, when I was watching it, I thought so. But then, yeah, watching it back, it's like, okay, I've had like a biased point of view, like sitting there in person.
This is the first time I've heard you say that.
Yeah, but because we never talked about it.
Just switching up like that? The whole internet saw you repeatedly throughout the past 2 years say that I won that fight. And now you're saying the opposite?
Because I'm rooting for you. But like, if you want to know the truth, yeah, like I'm gonna ride or die for you on my shield. Yeah, 100%. And afterwards, when I saw that you lost it on TV, people in interviews would still be like, "What do you think?" I'm not gonna be like, "No, I watched it back and I thought he lost." No, he fucking won because you're my brother.
I don't disagree, but the fact is, I went toe to toe for 8 rounds with the greatest boxer of all time, and you're not able to see how good I was in that fight. And yes, I'm in the WWE currently, but I like boxing a lot, and I think I'm really good. You had your chance with Tommy. You did. You had it, right? I have not. I've not gotten to eat at all. You know, like I thought I had that Nate fight locked up. You took it. I said, okay, go for it. I wanted the Tommy fight.
Wait,
JJ
but I
JJ
didn't.
said he wanted it.
I didn't
said,
take
okay,
I didn't
go for
take
it.
a fight from you that wasn't necessarily yours. It's whoever's it's in the ethos.
But motherfuckers are avoiding me. They are avoiding me or picking someone else, and that's obnoxious. And everyone secretly knows why. No one wants to say it because I have an 0-1 record and I wasn't able to knock out the best fighter of all time. But I think it's fucking obvious, bro. I'm very athletic, and I've gotten the hang of boxing in the past 2 years after fighting the GOAT. And I'm excited to show that. And granted, do I still have something to prove? Absolutely. But if for whatever reason it doesn't go in KSI's favor, the story arc, the vengeance arc of avenging my business partner and brother is right there. I think
you just want to beat Tommy to be able to say that you're better than me at boxing.
Well, I'll never fight you, and I don't want to fight JJ again.
But I think that's more so what it sounded like it is. But it's crazy for you to think that people are avoiding you.
But Nate chose you over me.
No.
Why would Nate do that?
But Ariel Helwani asked him to his face. And he said because his brother hasn't fought anyone in a real fight. He hasn't knocked out any MMA fighters. He wanted the most real, professional, legitimate fight. That's what he said.
Nothing that I do in the boxing.
And that's what he said. And that's what he said behind the scenes too. But that's also what he said behind the scenes too.
But
he literally said, "Hey, Nate." His manager said, "Hey, we're not fighting Logan. Nate wants this real fight." That's exactly what they said.
Because I do WWE. Is completely unrelated to my boxing career. It just is. And people know the pay-per-view numbers I put up. They're fucking big, dude.
But
I'm a great promoter.
What pay-per-view numbers though? Like
1.2 with Floyd.
Yeah, but that's Floyd.
500K
that's
with
Floyd.
KSI 2. 1.1 with
KSI 2 is 300K.
Every WWE event that I'm in has been their highest grossing and most viewed.
I think this is gonna go in circles. I think,
but it's free. Like it's a free event
for a fight.
No, WWE's people.
It's $9 on Peacock.
No, that's not free, brother. Because you are the face of at least this weird like influencer crossover.
It's deeper than that. It's
whatever you want to call it. Because you are the face of it. And I can also sell an insane fucking number of pay-per-views, and I'm not in my potential opponent's head. Wouldn't it be an easier fight to fight me, and yet they're still choosing you?
Bro, Logan is sulking hard. It's so obvious he's jealous of Jake's success so far. And the thing is, Jake knows he's not a serious fighter yet. He was actually quite open and honest about that in the podcast and admitted he still needs to build up his experience fighting real boxers before he can consider himself a legit contender. Some people think it's too late for him to build those skills and transfer them into wins. Who knows? Only time will tell. But he's definitely on a better trajectory than Logan is when it comes to being considered a real fighter. Logan's claim to fame in the fighting arena is being carried by Floyd Floppy Hands Mayweather Jr. for 8 rounds. But in this next clip, Jake clears everything up and lays it down for Logan, hitting him with some home truths that Logan is probably going to need therapy to deal with. Take a look.
Even when you sell on this next event, you can't even take credit for the numbers. That's the thing.
At all?
Partiality.
No.
At all?
No. You like what do you sell? That's the okay. Cool. You did 1. I could say I did 1.8 million with Tyson.
We may never. Wait, what?
I did 1.8 million with Tyson
Because he was the undercard for the Tyson.
Exactly. So it's like you could say all of these. I could say these things. Boo, 8th biggest event ever. Cool. Like,
but because,
I've done the same
but
things.
Because that's
and
the
it's
way
more expensive than that fight.
But because that's the way I weave my business, I am strategic with my partnerships and amplification. That's part of the shtick. I don't miss, and I won't miss when we sell pay-per-views ever. I'm a sick promoter and an easier fight, which is why I'm confused why anyone would choose you. An easier fight.
So up until this point, I kind of felt like Jake was actually holding back a bit. So then after Logan kept digging and making bullshit claims, trying to claw his way into his brother's success, Jake had just had enough and dropped his filter, serving up some brutal takedowns that Logan simply couldn't take. He called out Logan's hypocrisy when it comes to his business dealings. It all started with Logan being told he wasn't allowed to bring in a prime bottle to Jake's fight against Nate Diaz, which Logan thought was a betrayal from his brother, but Jake flips it back in his face and showed him how much of a hypocrite he was being. Check it out.
People don't like to work with your team. People hate your team.
I could say the same thing.
They hate your team.
Okay, let's
You
chill
could
out.
you could but you
chill out.
could say that you could say the same thing, but the evidence doesn't show that. So it's like
Let's chill out. You have a fight coming up. Let's talk about it again after that fight. We're going in circles here, and it's getting fucking
I disagree.
personal. And
No, I disagree. Nikisa banned DAZN from mentioning or bringing in Prime to the stadium. They said I would get kicked out if I brought a Prime bottle. That's fucking ridiculous, dude. Do you think I would ever ban you from promoting any of your shit at any of my events? That's ridiculous.
wait, that's because of who the partner,
Competing partner.
the competing partner was
Marcos
for the event.
texted us 4 times with stipulations, listed out paragraphs.
Yeah, get over it. Like, and
Dude,
meanwhile,
come on, I'm your brother building a
oh
business.
yeah, you're my brother building a business. You
who's-
love to play both sides,
who's
bro.
yielding
What's the
here?
what other
You
side
play
am I playing?
both
What other
sides.
side am I
You
playing?
You play both sides.
What's
and it's
the
like,
other side that I'm playing?
I'll partner with all of your enemies. Like I have,
Bro,
I
my
have
life is
all-
my life. Your life is your life. If you want
But
to create
see, you
beef
love
with-
to play both. You love to play both sides. That's the brands getting involved. I have no say in that. I don't give a fuck. But if they request something and they're paying millions of dollars to be the title sponsor,
But the request is this: your brother can't bring a Prime bottle into the stadium, and if he does, he will be escorted out by
You wouldn't
security.
be escorted out.
That's ridiculous.
But you have a Prime card coming up soon. Obviously,
so
as
why
you
do you
just
care
said.
so
Let me-
much
let me-
about like?
Let me pose this question.
Why do you care? What do you care more about? Going to my event or having a Prime bottle in your hand?
I care that it was such a big deal for your team that I'm trying to build a multi-billion-dollar business, and your team, who I see every single day,
At whose
have
event?
an issue with it.
At whose event?
Your event.
Exactly. My event.
I'm your brother,
Yeah, exactly. So respect what's going on at my event.
and I did.
Okay.
I thought it was ridiculous.
Okay, but that's just the name of the game. It's business.
And you have a Prime card coming up. If you walked in with a Celsius headband to it, you probably would say that's
I
unacceptable.
don't give a fuck. You're getting paid millions of dollars by Celsius. Yeah, they're our competitor, but like, dude, come on. We're all,
But
we're
if
all
you-
doing
but-
something
but-
here.
but-
I don't.
But if you request it, if it's different because I'm not in control.
Who signed
If-
the contract? And if they did, was there a contract that said, was I in the contract that was signed
I don't
with
know.
Celsius
I
in the
don't
zone?
know.
Because that's
I don't
fucked
know.
up. You can't
No.
sign it on behalf of a third party.
No,
and
no,
the way
no.
the way that we got text from Marcos sure sounded like someone signed a contract that said Logan Paul, if he shall come to this event, will not have Prime. You can't do that. You can't tell me what to wear. You can't tell me I'm going to be escorted out of the venue if I bring a certain thing.
Technically, they can.
Technically, they can, yeah. But I just found it crazy.
So you can tell that by this point in the podcast, Logan was basically starting to agree that he was in the wrong. Jake was absolutely giving it to him, and Mike was trying to gently nudge Logan into accepting the reality that Jake was basically painting for him. It eventually got to the point that Logan had had enough and agreed that they should continue the conversation off air. It was just getting too personal, and it took Logan almost an hour to realize that he was probably talking shit out of jealousy, and it wasn't a good look for him. You can see in this next clip his moment of realization that, you know what, maybe Jake's right. Maybe I do need some more inner reflection to see things for what they are. Take a look.
I feel like I'm at my friend's house and their parents are fighting. I don't even know what, you know? Should I go home?
Bro, so what do we do? What do we do? Where do we go from this? Because I saw this coming.
Yeah. So did I.
So I mean, how are you feeling?
What about what?
Just the conversation we just had.
I think you have a lot of trauma to unpack.
Probably.
But I've been wanting to ask all my friends, is Marcos here? I mean, whatever. But like, I've been wanting to like have this conversation with you like a month ago. It just like camp and you're traveling, etc. But yeah.
Where do you think my trauma stems from?
Do you want me to be really honest?
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know, like, cause I mean, that's like, we could beat around the bush, or it could just be like, I don't know if there's the right place to do it.
Yeah, I know there's fucking 20 people watching.
Well, there's more people watching right now, also on Impaulsive on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Maybe it's an off-camera conversation, because like I think this could be some real takeaways.
It's so obvious that by this point, Logan looks defeated, and he even admits that he probably needs to deal with a few things, and having that extended conversation off air will do him good. That's honestly pretty respectable. I appreciate that they didn't get physical or resort to name calling or, become overly dramatic for the cameras, even though Jake was probably pushing it a little bit by calling Logan out on such a public platform. But all in all, like I said at the beginning, this was a legit podcast. I actually really enjoyed it. It's hard to say how much of it was fake, but you can't deny that there was some real personal drama in there. I've been pretty critical of Logan in previous videos, and I think a lot of the issues he's having here are a result of things that I've brought up. Basically, Logan is one greedy-ass dude. He's said multiple times that he'll do anything for clicks, and he's motivated by money first and foremost. He even considers money to basically be his scoreboard. He always blurts out that he's trying to build $1 billion business with his drinks company, but it sounds like he's pushing too hard. He wants it too bad. But I have to say, that's actually an important trait to have if you want to be super successful. For example, Elon Musk, whatever you think of him, he's got an insane amount of self-belief and drive. You don't just become a billionaire by accident. So I appreciate where Logan's coming from, but it seems like he can't see the forest for the trees here. Shout out to Japan. He's clearly sacrificing important relationships around him to grow his businesses, and at the end of the day, he's got to get that balance right if he wants to be happy. Jake, on the other hand, I think is more comfortable in his space. It seems like he's got more in his mind than just money. He clearly wants to be taken seriously as a fighter, and he's doing what he thinks he needs to do to get there. Sure, he's, screwing around with wannabes. I think he's just being careful so he doesn't damage his brand too quickly, and he's definitely making a pretty penny along the way. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Remember, best comment gets pinned. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and become a subscriber, so you can keep up to date with all my latest uploads. I'll chat to you guys soon. See you in the next one.
Nate Diaz's fans are exactly like Nate Diaz. They're punks, so like they don't care. And there's like 15,000 of them. Their energy's feeding off each other, and it's just like these like people like just ready to fucking grab their dicks and be like when I walked in the press conference, there was dudes like.
We saw girls,
and I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, bro, like you're like 35-year-old dudes like in the crowd, but they actually it was like this filming for their fucking 5 followers.
They got you paid, bro.